Well, no one else wanted to talk about the roast, so I guess we're here to talk about the roast.
Well,
no, well, okay, let's be real. Most of the people on our panel don't really love a roast. I do, so I'm happy to be here, but
me too.
I didn't think this was all that bad. I didn't think this was all that bad at all. And we'll talk about it. But
yes.
Hello. Welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Brandon, say something gay. In typical ADHD brain fashion, I have 3 drinks with me for, pretty standard at this point. I have water because hydration is of the essence of Hall. I realized I'm not going to have much time to eat food because I have a busy day right after this. So I made a very quick chocolate peanut butter and cherry smoothie right before this. It's very delicious. I'm very happy with it. And then, of course, I have coffee because coffee, as per usual, also. I feel like I've also used this mug several times this season, and it's probably because it's blue.
I mean, it does match with the background.
It matches with the theme of the season, all that kind of stuff. I'm wearing a lot of blue today. This was not intentional, but this was just the outfit du jour. Also, cup mug. There was no good segue there. But you can get your cup mug and all of our other merch at lanagcreations.etsy.com. That link is down in the description below. We do ship domestically within North America and internationally, so there are no excuses. Go check out all of our fabulous merch. Period.
Work. And I am Brandon, your professional fangirl of Constant Dragon video games. It's back. My Stanley, and then yes, I am still enjoying my lead.
Good. Well, we are at episode 10 of RuPaul's Drag Race, season 17. Oh, Jesus. Not 16. Where were we this time last season?
Oh, God. Oh, wait. Was it that
was it the power challenge?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or was it was either power or it was like Maya went home.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, it was no, it was the yeah, it was literally the power challenge. Period. Okay, work. Well, how interesting. But we've got a fun roast to talk about today. A bunch of drama. A bunch of drama. We knew coming into this episode that there was going to be drama. There was going to be intrigue. Y'all.
I feel like that was the focal point of the episode.
I feel like that's all we got anything on in this episode was the drama, honestly. But we're gonna talk about it and everything in between. Before we do, though, make sure to subscribe if you've not already, because we're here almost all the time giving you almost all things drag. We've got 3 other channels as well, all of which are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So we can do some fun, cool stuff over there. Do some more fun stuff with all of those channels as well. So make sure if you are subscribed here, thank you. If you could go subscribe to our other channels, even if you don't watch the content, you don't have to turn on the button, whatever. It helps us out across all of the networks. So we appreciate it. Those links are down in the description below, as well as where you can find our audio podcast links and our Patreon, where we have a lot of fun Patreon content coming very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. We come into the workroom, and we have a very big loss. A big loss. Corey is gone. Lydia is upset. She's happy to still be here, but she's upset that she doesn't get to do the rest of the journey with Corey.
Yeah, that was sad.
I love that she was like, I don't have Corey holding me back, and I'm like, so Corey was holding you back for a win. Got it. Damn you, Corey.
I was like, okay.
She could have gotten a win earlier if it wasn't for you.
Now, what could have she had won?
Nothing else.
Yeah.
I love Lydia. Love me some Lydia. There ain't nothing else she could have won. Ain't nothing at all. She could have won.
Yeah.
But Jules finally has a win. She's celebrating her win. And this is the start of the Lexi inner saboteur monologue that we continued from last week's episode. We are continuing it into this episode. Right off the bat, she's like, I don't want you to take the feelings that I'm having right now as anything towards you. I'm just in my feelings. I'm like, that's fair.
And rightfully so.
And Lydia thinks that Sam could have been in the bottom. And I agree.
Oh. She was safe. Again, Sam was safe at best to me.
It was a basic look. It was nothing special. It was basic. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
So we come into the workroom the next day, and Michelle walks in. How fun. How different.
Surprising.
I love when Michelle walks in. I mean, it would have been weird if Rue had walked in, given everything that was going to go on. But we find out that for the first time in Drag Race history, the Badonkadunk tank has returned. Yay! Werk returning queen. Yay!
I like how they pan the camera to the door first, thinking that actually someone's going to return.
I was like, is it lucky? That's the only outcome I would have been happy with, honestly.
Honestly, same.
Now, do I necessarily think Lucky Stars would have done well in a roast?
No.
No shade, girl. Love you. Love you. No shade. But no, we are going back to the main stage for some Badonkadunk tank shenanigans with Joey Nolfi.
Yay.
I love him. I am gagged. It took them 17 seasons to put Joey Nolfi on Drag Race.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching this with my roommate last night, and I was like, so that's what I want to do. Like, for a while, I'm like, I don't know, career-wise, what do I want to do? I don't know. I realized last night, I want to be that. That is what I want to do. I want to be Joey Nolfi on Drag Race in the Badonkadunk. I think I would look great in the Badonkadunk tank.
You would, and I would probably.
I think I would look great. You would look great.
Yes.
Well, you've got a lot of experience around water.
Yes,
I do not. Mind you, this is a very enclosed situation, so I think I would have been okay. But yes, so we are answering questions on the Badonkadunk tank. And I love that the first one up is sweet little innocent Lydia. And Michelle's like, what's your favorite color? Blue? Wrong, it's red. I love this for Michelle. The winner of this week's mini challenge, Michelle Sage.
Yes.
Period. Period, queen.
Oh my
You better
God.
win that mini. You beter get that half a point in the draft,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yes, exactly.
Period. Come through, Michelle. No, I absolutely loved this. I thought it was so dumb. I love when it's just dumb and stupid. Like, thank you, Drag Race, for doing something dumb and stupid again. I appreciate it.
Yes, very, very that. My favorite one of the entire thing of that was when Michelle asked Ariete, are you a top or a bottom? And then Ariete's like, I'm a bottom, and then just like struggles to answer and then just gets in.
Girl, we all know.
Mm-hmm.
We all know, girl. And there's nothing wrong with that.
There is nothing
love
wrong
bottoms.
with that.
Bottoms are great.
And
but
also,
after the mini challenge, oh yes,
and they also dunked Joey as well.
I loved. I was like, you better get the full Drag Race experience.
This is for Hormona.
This is for Hormona. Not too much on Hormona.
Well, Michelle didn't get her revenge, so
I know, but not too much on Hormona.
Yeah.
Not too much. But we then find out that the Maxi challenge for this week is the villains roast. We are roasting 3 of the most available villains that they could get on set. In Candy Muse, yay! Mistress Isabel Brooks and Plain Jane.
Yes.
I'm like, how is Candy the oldest fucking queen on this stage?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, y'all couldn't dig. Where's Roxy Andrews? I'm sorry.
Probably...
Where's baby? They couldn't read the doll. Where's Roxy? I'm sorry. Roxy, like, and I know a lot of the villains are no longer associated with Drag Race. So obviously, like, Jeremy's ass wasn't going to go on. Vixen wasn't going to go on. I don't know. Like, but I'm like, Roxy would have been a great choice. Fucking King Tyra wouldn't have done it. And
definitely
nobody wants him anywhere near anything Drag Race related. Yeah, so I guess most of the villains have actually kind of
stepped away.
In one way or another, should not be on the show. But I'm like, but okay. Who else could there have been though, Brandon? Like, my mind goes to Roxy, just based on what happened in season 5.
Honestly, and I actually kind of see it. Evie from season 11.
I could see Evie. I could see Evie, I could see Vanjie, or I could see Silky. Like, any of those 3. It could have just been the 3 of them. Honestly.
True.
Honestly. Who else? Valentina.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, she was the nice girl.
She was already back for the Miss Congeniality. Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, I could have seen that too, which would have been hilarious.
I just would have liked a deep cut.
Gia.
Gia's pretty much distanced herself from the show. I don't think she would come back even if she was asked.
Fair.
So I guess they picked like the best options of who was available. I just would have liked to see Roxy personally, because I love Roxy. That's all.
It's just funny to think about, because I think they were like, when you think Roxy, I was like, wait, they were probably filming All Stars 9 at the time. So, or that was during the season All Stars 9, like promo preparing, or probably something along those lines. And then I think, so funny to think about that. Plane was here, and then like probably just filmed right after season 16.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yes, so because Jules won the Maxi challenge last week, she gets to make the order for the roast. And this causes all the drama of the episode I'm going to go ahead and say it, for no reason. I'm going to just say for no reason. For absolutely no reason. Because Jules does exactly what I would have done. Okay, what do you want? Is there anyone you don't want to be behind? And if you're not mentioning who you don't want to be behind, fair game, diva. Like, and skipping ahead, I loved what Anya said in Untucked. Like, yeah, I said I wanted to go second or third. She gave me first. It was close enough. I'm okay with that. You've got to juggle what 7 people want, and then also keep in mind what you want as the person. Like, there's obviously an element of self-interest here. So, but I really appreciated that Jules went around and asked everybody where they wanted to be. And for the most part, people landed exactly where, or near to, where they wanted. Now, did she fuck over Arietti? Yes. Point blank. Yes, she did. And Arietti gets upset. Arietti is pressed. I don't personally see it as that big of an obstacle, though, because she should also know that Jules is not going to do well at a roast either. Like, Arietti's anger, I definitely understood. I got it. I was like, this is your sister. They've been the Chismosa sisters all season. Like, I see it. I understand it. We'll talk more about it when we get to the workroom stuff later. Lexi's anger. Now, I love me some Mother. I love me some Mother. Lexi's anger made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like, the entire episode and Untucked, I was like, huh? What? And then hearing every single thing out of Anya's mouth, I was like, Anya is making so much sense to me. I agree with every single thing Anya is saying. Because it's like, you literally asked to go last.
Mm-hmm.
You're going last. Now, is there a Susie Toot in front of you in the running order? Yeah.
Yes.
But you didn't say you didn't want to be near Susie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that wasn't mentioned at all. So,
girl, like, now I will play devil's advocate here as well, because Jules didn't ask the question of like, who do you want to be or not want to be until after Lexi gave her answer. So I understand a little bit of that frustration and that anger. But it's just like, girl, you literally got what you wanted. Mm-hmm. You got what you wanted. And this entire episode, we're not seeing Lexi. Well, we are not seeing Lexi. We are seeing Lexi's inner saboteur.
Yep.
Like, none of this episode was Lexi Love. And looking at it through that lens, I understand everything that happened and the way that she went about everything so much clearer as a viewer, because I see it as, oh no, this is just a completely separate, like, there are rose-colored glasses. She is like, there is a complete disconnect between the Lexi we've grown to understand on this season and the Lexi we're currently getting, who is so deeply in her head right now and letting her inner saboteur just run free. Like, that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing Lexi. We're seeing Lexi's inner saboteur. And I hated to see that, because I don't like seeing that from anyone, especially someone I really, really love like Lexi.
Mm-hmm. Same.
So we go next to the table read with Michelle and our guest judge, Whitney Cummings. How fun. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
I love her. I love her. I love her. We'll talk more about her in this episode. I love her. She's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
She is the perfect person to have for this challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Now, question for you. What was your first familiarity of Whitney Cummings?
Oh, God. It was a roast of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember whose roast it was. But it was somebody's roast. I'm gonna do.
Yeah. While you look that up,
what was yours?
So funny enough, and I hated that this was my first thing. So she had a show on NBC in 2011 just called Whitney.
Okay.
And that's how I was familiar. I remember watching it. I thought it was hilarious. And funny enough, the series premiere came out on my birthday. So that's how I remembered it really well. Now, it was an acquired taste, like, because again, this happened in 2011. So I did not know what that humor was way back when. Like, looking back on it now, I was just like, oh, no wonder.
Right.
So, thinking back on it now, I was just like, okay, this was something.
So it was, I remember what it was now. It was quite literally the roast of Whitney Cummings. Because it was the OnlyFans roast of Whitney Cummings. And the reason I remember it so distinctly is because Bob the Drag Queen was on it.
I love that.
Yeah, so because Bob was on it, and I was like, oh, that's what it was. And I remember seeing clips, and I thought she was so funny. And I followed her on Instagram ever since. And then what killed me about her was on New Year's on CNN when she did the roast of 2024 with Anderson Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
Killed me. I love her. She's so like everything I want to be as a comedian. Like she's just so dry and like so dry, witty, and yet so reactionary in her humor.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that even in this table read when she was like, "Can you stop yawning?" Like, girl, huh? What parts of the table read stood out to you, Brandon?
The one thing I remember distinctly from the table read was it was the interaction between Whitney and Lydia.
Where she was like, someone with a name like yours has to be funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now.
Also, what killed me is they censored the U in butthole at the
They censored butthole. They censored butthole. For what reason?
For what reason?
For what reason?
Why
are we censoring? Why are we censoring the written word butthole? I don't get it.
I don't get it.
There were a couple of other cute moments. One being Lana kind of getting some tough love from Michelle, being like, "I've gotten zero silly from you."
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why you're talking about being silly. I've seen zero silly from you. And I loved Whitney coming in and being like, but this is something you can use to your advantage. If the judges have only seen you as this like model stoic character, there's a real good opportunity here for you to surprise everybody and come out and be this funny character. Anya completely blows Susie's cover. She's like, I'm just a little worried about being too cerebral. And Anya's like, I call bullshit. I call bullshit. None of her jokes have ever gone over my head. The bitch is funny. And I love that Susie in confessional was like, yeah, I'm gonna do well in this challenge. Okay? I am. I'm gonna do well in this challenge. What about it?
That was the word of the entire table read, just cerebral.
Cerebral. And then the gag of all gags, Arietti decides to just straight up steal jokes from Jules.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I understand being upset about not getting the position in the roast that you want. And I'm going to bring up something that Susie says in the workroom stuff that we see right after this, because I think it is very, very applicable to the entire situation. Susie says, where you're placed in the roast does not matter that much. How you personally are affected by where you are placed in the roast matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So she was in her head. It's one thing to be upset about where you're placed in the roast. For me personally, I think it's too far to steal jokes. That's just me.
Yeah, no.
I think, like, I'm going to be honest, I lost a little bit of respect for Arietti in this moment. I understand this is not her thing. I understand that she is upset with her friend for her, like, feeling fucked over by her friend. I absolutely get it, and I understand it. I think that is too far, too low. I think it's too low. Like, it felt gross. It felt gross. And I mean, she got the outcome she wanted, so work. It didn't end up ultimately in her favor.
Yeah.
But it's like, it just, I don't know. It just felt gross to me.
No, yeah. Yeah, at that moment, I remember reacting to it. I was like, oh, this is happening. Like, it was spicy in the moment, but then obviously it did have the repercussions afterward.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Because we go into the workroom situation. Arietti is moving stations. She doesn't want to be next to Jules. Jules is trying to apologize to her in this moment. Ariette's not having any of it. It was just like, I feel set up. I wouldn't do this to a friend. Whatever. So she moves, completely leaves Jules by herself. Which, again, it feels mean girl to me. I'm sorry, it just does.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get it. You can have your feelings all you want. It just, you're there to play a game. You're playing a game. Jules played the game. You're mad that she played the game? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Exactly.
I don't know. And then Lexi, I'm so sorry. Lexi's inner saboteur is talking.
Yep.
And says that Jules is playing stunts and she's trying to set her up and all of these things. We get the first iteration of Jules versus Ariette and Lexi. I love that Jules straight up is like, I don't care how Lexi feels, because right now in this moment, I gave her what she wanted. So I don't know why she's complaining. I am worried about how Ariette thinks, because she is my friend. And I don't want this to affect our friendship. So they go back and forth. And Jules does admit, okay, yeah, I put myself after you because I don't feel that confident in a roast either. And I, wanted a better position for myself. Why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, why is that a bad thing?
Like, I don't understand personally why that's a bad thing. I don't know.
Again,
I get everyone's feelings in this episode. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
The only real thing I had a big issue with is Ariette stealing jokes. I just think that's too far.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand where everyone's anger is coming from, because like all of those feelings are 100% valid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just the strategic thing of like Jules trying to figure it out. Again, she had that advantage, so use that strategy as much as you can, and I agree with that. I also agree, like, stealing the jokes, I was just like, hoo. And of course we'll talk about it when we get to the challenge, and it's like very apparent of what happened. I mean, you can see, like, again, like they said, you can cut the tension in the room with a butter knife. Famously said by Widow Von Du.
Literally. And then Susie and Lana are like, well, I just kind of want the energy to shift because I want everyone to go into the roast feeling good. And then Ariette comes after her and is like, let a bitch be mad. And it's like, okay, you don't need to let your feelings, like, someone else can be having a perfectly positive day. You don't need to bring the whole room down. I'm sorry, you don't need to bring the whole room down. And then Anya just starts laughing and leans over to Jules and she's like, you have cracked all of these girls. And then this moment with Lexi in this black wig, walking around in this brat shirt and just a thong, just like serving so much fierceness, but being so angry about this entire situation.
Mm-hmm.
And just like being a brat. I gotta be honest, I love Lexi, but she's being a bit of a brat here.
Mm-hmm.
Because she got her way, but she doesn't think she got her way, because her inner saboteur isn't letting her think she got her way, because she is so obsessed with comparing herself to Susie Toot, and I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get it.
Yeah, like,
I'm worried.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried that this is going to prevent Lexi from winning the season.
I know. Yeah. Hey, we're like over halfway through the season. Like, it's getting real competitive, and I will say this point of the season, it actually got competitive, which I was like, damn. because we kind of saw the front runners like kind of like front loading, and now we're like getting the whole. Oh, we're actually now seeing everything else now.
And that's honestly what I'm loving the most about this season is that, like, by this point in most of the other seasons recently, it's like, okay, cool. There's like 1 or 2 people that could win feasibly. At this point, I'm like, genuinely, 5 or 6 of the girls left could win.
Mm-hmm.
And I could see it.
No, I could definitely see that.
And I kind of love that. Well, with that being said, should we talk about the roast?
Let's do it.
Sure. Our villains roast. We have Mistress, we have Plain, we have Candy. Candy looked the best.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Period.
Candy did look the best.
Plain looked so washed out. And I'm not just trying to come up with an excuse to talk shit about Plain Jane, I promise. But there was something about her makeup. I don't know if it was the new stage lights or if it was her makeup or what, but she looked really pale.
I just read something on Gold Derby that Plain did say that the villain of this of this roast is the set.
Oof. Well, yeah. And I think Mistress looks good.
Mistress being Mistress.
Mistress usually looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. Mistress usually looks good. So let's talk about our roasters. In order, let's go ahead and start with Anya. I thought she started real strong.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she did a really, really good job. She opened the show very beautifully. It's not necessarily what she wanted, but again, we know Anya to be a really good host and she's got a really good energy to kind of start things off, bring things to a good level. She got a couple of really, really good zingers in there. STD the Rusical was a great joke. Mistress, it's so good to see you here. Clearly you had nothing else going on. And then my absolute favorite joke of hers was when she said, our next queen has the comedic timing of a cancer diagnosis.
Oh my God.
And that alone, coupled with a very strong delivery overall, made me have Anya third in my ranking overall. And I would have had her in the top.
Correct. I also had Anya at third. What also stood out was Candy Muse as Tasmanian Dust. or like, you remind me of Tasmanian Devil. That's just the dust.
Oh yeah, they had their whole Tasmanian Devil, like, she was like, you remind me of the Tasmanian Devil, so I'm gonna say this in only words that you can understand.
Which translates to, if you don't have star quality, get the fuck out of here.
I lived. Yeah, I thought Anya did really, really well. Started strong, and then, oh boy, did it crash.
Oh yeah. Hard.
Oh, Arietti. Oh, Lord. She got one, I wrote down one joke. One singular joke. She started by talking about how afraid she was of roasting, and I was like, cool, she's going home. But then she said, just like Plain Jane is afraid of emotional intelligence. And I said, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. That's a joke. You got one, girl. Good for you. Yeah, Arietti crashed and burned, even with Jules's jokes. Like, how do you take someone's jokes and still bomb? Girl, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're gonna take someone's jokes and then bomb? No. No. I would say this is probably the worst roast performance we have ever seen on Drag Race.
Mm-hmm.
I just, yeah.
Yep. No, sorry. Next.
To not much better. Obviously, Jules gets completely thrown off because Ariadne stole her jokes. So I do love that she started with that was very intelligent. Starts the run of fat jokes, and we all knew we were gonna get a couple fat jokes. She had a couple of funny, but not as massive as Candy Muse's back jokes, and I thought that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, she just she went for it. Her backup jokes ended up being a little too abrasive. And I really liked what Whitney Cummings said in the critique, being like, I think this is a skill that you should hone in on because you're so sweet and bubbly. You can get away with murder in a roast situation. So I wish she had done better. Jules was number 7 for me.
Yeah, also number 7. And the thing is, throughout the season, we've seen how witty Jules has been, and she could have played into that. But unfortunately, still taken aback by the fact that her jokes were stolen, really got to her, which ultimately affected how she did. So,
yeah, I do like that she called Plain Jane the Donald Trump of drag. I did really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was
and
a good
it is
one.
Correct.
Yep.
Feels very correct. Let's talk about Lana. Lana!
Yes!
Lana!
Yes!
She did it! She was funny! I was so nervous for Lana. I was like, either she's gonna do so well, or she's going home. And I didn't want her to go home. But she did it! She was so funny. I absolutely loved every single thing she said.
Mm-hmm.
Starting out with, thanks, Jules. I could have said it better. So good. Mistress in her fitness era. Playing How Are You? I don't give a fuck. The jokes white themselves. I mean, my two favorite jokes of the entire roast came back to back. 2 of my top 3 favorite jokes of the entire roast came back to back. When she goes, Candy wasn't sitting alone in the VIP. She was saving 10 seats for T.S. Madison's ass. Why have we never had anyone make a T.S. Madison's ass joke?
Exactly.
It's right there. And it's very large and very in charge. And I love it. And then saying, what was it? Something to the effect of Sam's family owning her ancestor.
Oh my God.
I cried laughing. I was so proud of Lana. I was so proud of her.
Mm-hmm.
She finally did it. I was so happy. A very strong, very, very, very happily placed number 2 for me in this challenge.
She was number 1 for me.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. No, I'll be honest. Not only she surprised me, but I laughed at every single thing she said. Especially with the playing How You're Doing. Actually, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
And then Candy is so dumb. Period.
Candy's been providing entertainment on television for so many years. Okay, nothing about Lana's roast was revolutionary. Nothing about it was completely groundbreaking by any means of the imagination. but her delivery was good. The one thing for me that separated her from, I'll go ahead and say Lydia, because Lydia was my number one. I thought Lana's delivery could have been a bit slower. She didn't have a lot of opportunity between jokes to let the jokes sit. She kind of sped through a lot of them, which I understand. She's nervous. Comedy is not necessarily her thing. So I definitely understand that. Mm-hmm. There are a couple of jokes, like the no, that's someone else. It was the jokes white themselves. I wish she had let that joke sit for a second and then moved on in her set. Which is literally the only reason. Her timing is the only reason that I have her number 2.
No, I get that. I mean, she did mention the "so white" 3 times, and I was like,
yes,
which was still hilarious to me. So
definitely. Let's move to Sham Star, who thanked her longtime family friend, Lana Jarre. I was like, that was a strong start. I thought everything Sam did was strong, but her roast was significantly shorter than everybody else's.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that.
So I'm curious, what didn't we get to see? What didn't we get to see? Because clearly, jokes were cut. Clearly, jokes were cut. That probably put her in the top. So what did we not see? With that being said, I thought her jokes were actually really strong. Candy Muse doesn't get taken out on dates. She gets taken out on dares. And then closing with Bless Your Heart Disease was really, really strong. For me, based simply on the fact that she had less jokes that we saw in the edited version of the TV show we watched, I have her at a very, 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 very strong 5th place for me in my ranking.
Yeah, I have her at 4th. Obviously, what I loved for her as well was when it was like, Plain Jane is known for her burger finger, and then Lydia is known for her butthole finger. I was just like, ooh.
God.
Or like your sister Corey, butthole finger.
I love that there were so many Corey reads, and half of the Plain Jane reads were Corey reads, and I love that.
Yep.
Because Plain Jane is irrelevant. No, I'm kidding.
Again, you gotta remember,
and I love that
it's Corey season.
She had to have gone home and she was like, bitch, what the fuck does any of this mean? What does any of this mean? What do you mean? Yeah, I still thought Sam did really, really well. It's just we literally only got 4 jokes from her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But Miss Butthole. From needing a new bald black man in her life to calling Whitney Cummings boring. I'm such a big fan is what Mistress would say if she was dressed as an oscillating fan. Jenny from The Blob. Plain Jane taking a break from jacking it to a mandatory meetings elimination. And then saying that Corey is still with us because her jizz is still in my stomach.
Oh my God.
This is the best roast performance I have ever seen on Drag Race. This is textbook perfection for me. I loved every single thing she did. Her timing was perfect. The jokes were so well written. The delivery was so soft, but pointed and deranged and cynical and exactly what she said they would be. Well done, Lydia. Thrilled.
Yeah. So the only reason why I had Lydia at a very, very close second. Now, I can't necessarily tell if the edit really influenced me. But there was like one part where I was just like, because I think she was the only one that played into the judges, whereas Lana played into like everyone. So, but something about the delivery between Lana and Lydia is like Lana had something for me where I was able to like handle, but I do understand why you thought the timing for her was like for second, and then for Lydia, I thought her timing was just like I couldn't think it was slightly off. Like again, I remember when I was watching, I was like, I may need to rewatch it and probably have to like
Okay.
reconsider. So, but I will say this, like Lana and Lydia are very close for me, so that's why I have Lydia at very close second.
Okay.
So,
let's move to Susie 2, who I thought did a very strong job as well. We knew she was going to do well, and she did. I love she called out being the mistress being the former mother of Sugar and Spice. I was like, period, you better call it out. I thought abortion was illegal in Texas, and then doubling that with it's the only sugar she would cut out of her life. I thought that was funny. Like Corey, or like playing Corey has a great ass and left no other impression on her season. That was funny. And then she wasn't going to make any old jokes towards RuPaul because that would be beating a dead horse, which is Raven's job description. So good.
That killed me.
So good. So good. I had Susie at a very strong 4th. Like, I really just think the top 5 of this roast did so spectacularly that it's really splitting hairs for me. What I loved especially about Susie's roast was the incredibly dry delivery. And I loved it.
No,
so,
the dry delivery that actually worked. Because sometimes most dry deliveries will just like stay dry. But that dry was actually like, okay, that actually can keep that. No, yeah, like beating the dead horse is Raven's job description. That killed me. I had Susie at a very strong 5th because I had Sam above Susie, but again, those two were very close. Okay. So,
and then Lexi, who didn't completely bomb. She was a very clear 6th for me. She didn't completely bomb. She did get a couple of really good jokes in. Susie's turning into the Jinx Monsoon for Dummies. I thought that was kind of cute. Playing out of drag looks like Freddie Prinze Jr. if he was on crystal meth. That's funny. Candy's underbite joke. That's funny. She went for a dry delivery, and it worked in some places and didn't work in other places. And then I love that she called her Isabella and then said, "Oh, sorry, darling. I like to add letters like you like to add carbs." Funny. Funny. Very funny. So, not bad, but a solid 6th.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell like her inner saboteur kind of got to her in the beginning, and then it kind of did fizzle out a little bit. So yeah, she was fine. Like I wasn't like mad. Like understandably why she didn't place as strong as the others. So yeah, she was also 6 for me. So
yeah. Yep. Well, of the judging, really the only thing that majorly stood out to me was Lexi. Ru kind of asks why she got in her head a little bit. She straight up says, you know, Jules knows that I compare myself to Susie a lot, and I wasn't thrilled with the positioning overall. And this moment between Lexi and Whitney was so good. Because Whitney was like, I see me. I see me in there. And I have one thing to say to your inner saboteur. Fuck you. And let this be the last day that your inner saboteur speaks. I love that.
I love that so much.
You better, Whitney. Come on, Whitney. Period, Whitney. Yes. Yes, Whitney. Yes, Whitney.
After that moment, you know what I thought was going to happen? And I'm going to pull it up because I really thought that it was going to happen, but it didn't because given all the drama that happened today, I thought this was going to happen.
Oh, Lord.
Mm-hmm. I really thought that who should go home tonight and why was going to be brought up, but it did not happen. And I thought that was going to add to the drama.
I would have loved to see it personally. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been very funny. But let's talk about Untucked really quick because there's a lot to talk about with Untucked.
Ooh, okay. I gotta buckle up.
So, you didn't.
Sorry. Again,
Girl!
I got home at 5 a.m.
Anyway, yeah, so our safe girls are Anya and Susie. They go back. They're kikiing. I love the two of them together, by the way. Absolutely love them. They both basically just agree that Lexi is letting her inner saboteur speak. They're both like, why is Lexi angry? Why is she doing all of this? This, that, and the third. And then there's a full fight. You missed an entire fight. And it ends up being Arietti and Lexi versus Jules and Anya. Anya like puts herself into the argument. It's basically just rehashing what was going on earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
But Anya's putting her 2 cents in, and basically just the gist of the argument is like Arietti is still upset for where she placed in the roast, whatever. Lexi is still upset because of where she placed in the roast. And Anya just straight up tells both of them, like, you can feel, like, she towards Arietti, she's like, you can feel the way you feel, but also, like, you left your friend hanging. Like, it's my issue now because you left her alone and she was sitting next to me and confided in me. So, like, yeah, now it's going to be my issue. And then straight up tells Lexi, like, you need to, like, let the situation go. Like, you're letting your inner saboteur speak. And was, like, really real with Lexi. Like, you're in the wrong in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You got what you wanted. You're taking it out on this girl. You're in the wrong. And, like, Lexi was very much so, like, rejecting it and got pissed off at Anya. And, like, the whole Untucked was, like, the 4 of them kind of squabbling back and forth. I really appreciated Jules saying something in confessional as well, where she was like, Anya is saying all of the things that I am currently too scared to say. And I was like, oh, baby, no. Mm-hmm. But I love that for Anya. I love Anya. Loving Anya. Absolutely loving Anya.
Anya putting everyone in check.
Yeah, literally. Anya is the mother of the season, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yes.
So things simmer down a little bit. Anya comes over to Lexi to talk, and Lexi initially is like, no, I don't want to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to you. And is like smiling and laughing through this whole thing. They end up kikiing and make up, and Lexi realizes, no, Anya's 100% right. I'm letting my inner saboteur speak. I need to not do that. So Lexi goes and apologizes to Jules, which I love. Love that resolution. And then for all of the times that Arietti has been swerving Jules in this episode and not wanting to do anything with her and not wanting to talk to her, right before they go back onto the main stage, she's like, hey, so I want to apologize for what happened. I'm like, girl, really? Really, girl? Oh, God. I mean, I appreciate the apology on all of that, but like, really, girl? Really? but
yeah.
But it's a fun argument. It's a fun little argument. But let's talk about our results. So we end up with our top 3. Who would have expected the top 3 of the roast to be Lana, Sam, and Lydia?
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I'm here for it.
No, I'm here for it too. And finally for both Lydia and Lana.
Finally getting a high. They both talked about this in Untucked too, and I was so happy for both of them. Because before all the fighting happened, all of the top girls were like giving their thing, and Lana and Lydia were both so happy, and everyone realized, I think them included, it was both of their first times in the top, and so they were both super happy together, and I was just like, oh yay! But everyone in Untucked was like, oh, well, we're thinking it's Sam's week to get another win. Like, everyone thought Sam was about to get her 3rd win.
Really?
Which explains why everyone was so surprised when Lydia wins the challenge.
Yes.
Oh, I've been so thrilled. Love Lydia. Big fan.
And you can tell how surprised she was too. Like,
oh no, truly gagged. I deserved. I would have given it to Lydia or Lana, and I would have been so happy.
Same.
So happy either way. I do love that it went to Lydia though, especially having like the arc she's having now of literally just sending home her boyfriend to now winning a challenge. I think that's a really fun story arc. I'm really happy for Lydia, and I'm just as happy for Lana finally getting in the top on a challenge no one would have expected Lana to be in the top for a roast. I am thrilled and excited, and I'm thrilled for both of them. Love it. So, but we end up with our bottom 3 of Ariete, Jules, and Lexi, with the correct bottom 2 of Ariete and Jules. Our Chismosa sisters are in the bottom 2. And I was like, okay, well, I think I know where this lip sync might go. Let's see what the song is, and then we'll see how things go. Bitch, and then Yaya by Beyonce comes on, and I said, they paid for Cowboy Carter? They paid for Cowboy Carter?
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, they paid for Cowboy Carter.
The gag I had when we saw Yaya,
I screamed.
I was like, excuse me. Excuse me.
Excuse me? Ma'am? Huh?
Like, we would have thought Texas Hold'em was going to get that, but Yaya, of all, I was like, holy. And Cowboy Carter is, like, on a full high at that moment of filming. So.
Right. This is literally, like, 3 months into Cowboy Carter being out is when they filmed. So,
yes.
like, gag. I don't know that Yaya is the song I would have picked for the first lip sync song off of that album on Drag Race.
Yeah, because like I would have fully thought Texas Hold'em because
I wouldn't have.
Oh, really?
No, I don't. What would I have picked? Yaya is not a bad option by any means of the imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know in the comments, what song would you have wanted off of Cowboy Carter? I don't know. I guess Yaya is kind of the right option.
Mm-hmm.
Now
this would have been this would have been funny. Her version of Jolene.
Her version of Jolene would have been fun. Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of like upbeat songs on Cowboy Carter, so I understand that. I personally think Riverdance would have been a fun lip sync.
Oh yeah, I would have also loved Riverdance.
Or Sweet Honey Buckin'. I think Sweet Honey Buckin' could make for a real good. I think it would depend on who's in the bottom. But yeah. So we get Ariete and Jules lip syncing to Yaya by Beyonce. Which also means there is a good likelihood, because they usually buy songs in pairs. So there is a good likelihood that we might get another, specifically Cowboy Carter song, either later this season or on All Stars 10. And I'm very excited for that. But yeah, I thought this lip sync was a lot closer than I expected.
Oh yeah, no, I agreed.
Because we saw Arietti in her first lip sync, and she wasn't that good. I thought she did the absolute best that she could. But I mean, as Susie said herself, Jules was floating across that stage and serving puss, and I loved every moment of
it. No, yeah. When I was watching, like I was eyeing on both of them equally. Now I'm not sure if there was an edit influence as well. However, like I was able to see both of them like no problem. There was like, unlike last week where I was able to see one, like clearly one winner over another, but this one was very close. And having seen Arietti performed a couple weeks earlier, like this is what Arietti can do.
Right.
So, and then with Jules, I was like, oh yeah, to me, I thought Jules had it in the bag. And then when the lip sync happened, I was like, oh wow, this is actually closer than I thought. So
it was a very close lip sync. I was remarkably surprised at how close it was. But yeah, I think the clear person won. Jules definitely won. I thought she had the fluidity. I thought she had more of the lyrics. I thought she had more of the nuance of the song, because this is a song that is very difficult to perform because there's so much nuance happening in the background. So it's like, how much of the nuance do you add in? Like, do you add the call and response that happens at the start? Do you add the constant yah in the background? Do you just play the Beyonce part? Like, there's so much going on in this song. And I think Arietti ultimately played it a little bit safer when it came to lyrics and the actual performance of it. I think Jules added a little bit more variety to it. And so I think overall, she was the right winner. Which does mean that we do lose Arietti here. And I mean, I think she has provided some lovely fashion on this season. She is the person I would have liked to see go home next. So I personally am not like the most devastated in the world. I think she's very talented at what she does best, but it was her time.
Yeah.
And she had already been eliminated, as Susie and Anya pointed out in Untucked as well. Like, she has already gone home. Send her home.
Yep.
So, but great fashions, lovely fashions, beautiful fashions. And hopefully we'll get to see more beautiful fashions from her or someone related to her very soon. Period. Well, the draft doesn't matter to you, Brandon, but it matters to the rest of us, because it is still not anybody's game. It's basically a 2-horse race at this point. We have David still sitting in 7th place with 51 points. Sugar with 56 points in 6th place. I am in 5th with 59.5 points. River is in 4th with a solid 70 points. Lana is up in 3rd with 74 points. Kamorian in 2nd with 89 points. And Brooke is currently leading the draft with 98 points.
Wow, 89 and 98.
Yep. And I believe they both still have a full team. Yep.
Damn.
Yep. They both still have a full team.
No wonder. No wonder.
Brooke, well, also, when I tell you their teams, it'll make sense. Kamorian has Jules, Lydia, and Anya.
Yep.
And Brooke has Susie, Anya, and Lexi.
Yep.
So Next week we are getting our first scripted acting challenge of the season, which I'm very excited about.
It took them this long.
Right. It's a parody of Truman Capote versus the Swans, I believe is what it's called.
Mm-hmm. Because it's Ross Matthews versus the Ducks.
With Cheyenne Jackson directing. I'm very excited that we're getting more Cheyenne Jackson. And Sam Smith!
Yes!
But for an acting challenge.
I know. But I'm very excited for what the lip sync's going to be next week.
Bitch, we know it's going to be unholy. Come on.
Yep.
It has been on like 5 rumored Drag Race lists. They're going to use it on this season. Cool. I'm excited to see who's lip syncing to Unholy next week.
I have the shirt for it. So
period.
God,
well,
what
with
are
that
these
being
sirens
said,
going on today?
Well, we're gonna close out of here so that way no one has to listen to sirens except for you. So thank you for joining us for this episode recap for RuPaul's Drag Race season 17, episode 10. Let us know all your thoughts on the roast down in the comments below. We will be talking about the fashions over on Look Over Here, so make sure to check that out. And in the meantime, subscribe, like, and share. We've got a bunch of fun things coming out on this channel. We are covering Drag House Rules on Out TV, so make sure to check that out. And we are working our way through season 1 of Le Mas Draga, so make sure to check that out as well. We've got a couple of other fun drag things coming very soon, so stay tuned for those. And we've got a lot of content coming out on all 3 of our other channels as well. All of those links are down in the description below. Check out the description as well, where you can find all of our audio podcast links, our Patreon, our social media, and where you can get your merch, including but not limited to cup, mug. And with all that being said, we are going to go ahead and get out of here. So cheers!
Cheers.
And don't forget the outlet.